Level 1, The Hobbyist. You are 16 years old. You didn't decide to make games. You just couldn't stop. It started with a free engine you downloaded at 11 p.m. on a school night. Unity. The interface opened and you sat there for 40 minutes reading tutorials you didn't fully understand, and then you made a cube move across a screen using code you copied from a forum post, and you did not sleep that night. Not because the cube was impressive. Because you made the cube move. You made a thing do a thing. And the thing it did was exactly what you told it to do. That feeling does not go away. It is, in various forms, the reason you will spend the next 20 years in this industry. The projects you build over the next 2 years are not good. This is important. A hobbyist who believes their early projects are good is a hobbyist who stops learning. Your first platformer has collision detection that works 60% of the time. Your first RPG has a combat system that you describe to your friends as almost done for 11 months. Your first attempt at a multiplayer game crashes every third match, and you spend 6 weeks learning why before you fix it in 40 minutes. 6 weeks to understand. 40 minutes to fix. You will encounter this ratio many times. In many forms. For the rest of your career. Which rank would you stop at? Drop your answer in the comments right now. You post your first game online at 17. A simple puzzle game. 47 people play it. 3 of them leave comments. 2 of the comments are helpful. 1 of them is not. You read the unhelpful one 4 times. Then you open the engine. You keep building. Level 2, the student/junior developer. You are 21 years old. You are studying computer science with a game development specialization. Or you are not. You are self-taught, building a portfolio on nights and weekends while working a job that has nothing to do with games. Both paths produce junior developers. The path matters less than what you do on it. Your portfolio has 3 projects. The first one you include because it demonstrates a technical skill. The second one you include because you are proud of it. The third one you include because you finished it, and finishing a project, in game development, is a credential. Most projects are not finished. The graveyard of unfinished games on your hard drive is twice the size of your portfolio. You do not talk about the graveyard in interviews. You think about it when you are debugging something that isn't working. Your first industry job application sends you to 23 studios. You receive 4 responses. 2 move to interviews. 1 makes an offer. The offer is for a junior position at a mid-sized studio. Not the studio you dreamed about. A studio that makes games you have played and respected, and that is, as you will discover in the first 3 months, a completely different experience to encounter from the inside than from the outside. On your first day, a senior developer sits beside you. She does not give you a project. She gives you a bug. A single bug in a codebase that has been in development for 2 years and that contains, by your estimate in the first hour of reading it, approximately 400,000 lines of code. You find the bug on day 3. She reviews your fix. She says, "Good. Now write a test for it." You write the test. She says, "Good. Now document why it broke." You document it. She moves to her next task without further comment. You understand from this sequence what the job actually is. Level 3, Junior Developer. You are 23 years old. You are on a team. This is the adjustment that no portfolio prepares you for. As a hobbyist, as a student, you built things alone or in small groups where you understood every decision. On a team, you inherit decisions you did not make and constraints you did not design, and a codebase that reflects the priorities of people who left the company before you arrived. You work within these constraints. You do not fight them. Fighting them is the mistake that junior developers make in their first 6 months, and that senior developers recognize within 2 weeks. Your task is implementation. A lead developer designs the system. You build it. The system is specified in a design document that is, when you receive it, partially complete. The parts that are missing because the design is still being decided, and you are expected to begin working on the parts that are decided while the other parts resolve. This feels inefficient. It is. It is also the only way large projects move. In your 4th month, you are assigned a feature. A small one. An inventory sorting system for an RPG the studio has been developing for 18 months. The feature is not glamorous. Nobody will notice it when the game ships. They will notice when it is missing. You build it in 2 weeks. You test it. You hand it over for review. Your lead sends it back with 6 comments. Not rejections. Comments. Specific, technical, architectural observations about decisions you made that work correctly and could be made more maintainable. You implement the comments. You hand it over again. 2 comments this time. Then 1. Then approval. You track the number. Not because you are keeping score. Because the number going down is how you know you are learning. Level 4, Mid-Level Developer. You are 27 years old. You are no longer the newest person on the team. That distinction belongs to someone else. You watch the new junior developer receive their first bug on day 1. You watch the senior developer give it to them the same way yours was given to you 4 years ago. You understand now what you did not understand then. The bug is not the point. The sequence is the point. Find it. Fix it. Test it. Document it. The sequence is the entire job in miniature. You have shipped 2 games. The first shipped with a bug in the save system that affected 3% of players on a specific hardware configuration. You found it the week after launch. It took you 4 days to fix and 1 day to understand why you didn't find it before launch. The day of understanding was more valuable than the 4 days of fixing. The second shipped clean. Not because you were more careful. Because the day of understanding changed how you tested. You are now a mid-level developer on a new project. Your responsibilities have expanded. You are not only implementing systems, you are designing small ones. The lead brings you into architecture discussions. You contribute. Your contributions are sometimes accepted and sometimes modified and occasionally declined. The declined ones are the most instructive. In your 3rd month on this project, you propose a technical approach to a UI system that you are certain is correct. The lead considers it for 2 days and chooses a different approach. You ask why. She explains in 6 minutes. The 6 minutes contain a constraint you were not aware of, a platform requirement that makes your approach technically correct in isolation and operationally incorrect in the shipping environment. You update your mental model of how decisions are made at this level. The update takes 6 minutes. You will use it for the rest of your career. Level 5, Senior Developer. You are 31 years old. You are the person who gives the bugs now. Not because you enjoy it. Because you understand what the bug teaches. You have been on the receiving end of this specific education for 9 years. You know exactly what the sequence produces and how long it takes, and what it looks like when it is working and what it looks like when it isn't. A junior developer on your team is struggling. Not technically. His code is clean. His implementations are correct. He is struggling with something harder than correctness. He is struggling with judgment. The judgment about when to ask for help. The judgment about when to push through alone. The judgment about when the problem he is solving is not the problem that needs to be solved. You have seen this before. It is a specific phase. It resolves if it is addressed correctly and calcifies if it isn't. You sit with him for 40 minutes. Not to help him with the problem. To help him see the problem correctly. By minute 20 he sees it. By minute 30, he has a plan. By minute 40, he doesn't need you anymore. You stand up. You go back to your desk. You do not mention the 40 minutes to anyone. 3 months later, his pull requests come back from review with fewer comments than any other junior on the team. Your lead notices. She says nothing to you about it. That is a specific kind of acknowledgement. You have learned to read it. Level 6, Lead Developer. You are 35 years old. You lead a team of 7 developers. The shift from senior to lead is not a promotion. It is a reclassification of what you are responsible for. As a senior, your output was code. As a lead, your output is the team. The code the team produces. The decisions the team makes. The architecture the team builds and the technical debt the team accumulates, and the rate at which that debt compounds if it is not managed, and the downstream consequences of unmanaged technical debt in a codebase that will be maintained, extended, and shipped on a deadline that does not adjust for the consequences. You have 7 developers. 4 of them are strong. 2 of them are developing. 1 of them is struggling in a way that requires a conversation you have not yet had. You have the conversation on a Thursday. 30 minutes. Private. Direct. Covering, in specific terms, the gap between current performance and the team's requirements, and what the gap requires of both of you in the next 60 days. The developer listens. She asks 2 questions. Both questions are good questions. That tells you something. 60 days later, the gap has closed by half. That is sufficient. You revise the timeline. In your second year as lead, the project enters crunch. 8 weeks of extended hours before a submission deadline. You manage the crunch. You do not celebrate it. You do not apologize for it. You treat it as what it is, a planning failure upstream that has become an execution requirement downstream, and you ensure that the team exits it intact. All 7 developers are still on the team when the game ships. That is the number that matters. Not the hours. The 7. Level 7, Principal/Staff Developer. You are 39 years old. You operate across the entire project. Not one system. Not one team. The principal developer is the technical conscience of the project, the person who sees the architecture across all its components and identifies the places where it is working, the places where it is accumulating risk, and the places where a decision made in month 3 is going to become a crisis in month 18. Month 18 is when most crises arrive. They are almost never about what happened in month 18. In your second year in this role, you identify a dependency in the engine's rendering pipeline that will become a performance problem on current generation consoles at the project's target scope. The problem does not exist yet. It will exist in 7 months if the project continues on its current trajectory. You document it. You present it to the technical director. She reads the documentation for 11 minutes. Then she asks, what does fixing it cost now versus fixing it in month 18? You have the numbers. The conversation that follows lasts 40 minutes. The decision to fix it now costs 6 weeks of one team's time. Fixing it in month 18 would cost 4 months of 2 teams' time and a 6-week delay to ship. The decision is made in the meeting. The fix begins the following Monday. The project ships on schedule. In the studio's postmortem, the rendering pipeline is not mentioned. It is not mentioned because it was not a problem. It was not a problem because of a meeting that lasted 40 minutes 9 months before launch. The postmortem does not mention the meeting. The meeting was the point. Level 8, Technical Director. You are 44 years old. You are responsible for the technical direction of the studio. Not one project. The studio. Every project currently in development. Every technical decision made by every team. The architecture standards that apply across all projects. The tools pipeline. The engine strategy. The hiring criteria for every engineering position. The technical debt that has accumulated across 3 ship titles and that lives, unaddressed, in a codebase that 2 teams are currently building on top of. The debt is the first thing you address. Not all of it. The part that will cost the most if it is not addressed before the next project reaches mid-production. You commission a technical audit in your first month. 6 developers. 4 weeks. Every system in the shared codebase. The audit produces a report. The report has 41 findings. 19 are critical. You rank them. You resource them. You assign them to the developer's best position to address them, which is not always the developers who wrote the original code, because the developers who wrote the original code are not always the developer's best position to see its problems. 11 months later, 37 of the 41 findings are resolved. The next project begins mid-production without a technical crisis. In the studio's production review, the technical health of the new project is noted as the best in the studio's history. Nobody in the review traces it to the audit. Nobody traces it to the 11 months. Nobody traces it to the 41 findings resolved by developers who were given the time and the resourcing and the clear direction to resolve them. You do not correct this. The project's technical health is the acknowledgement. Level 9, Studio Head/Creative Director. You are 49 years old. You run a studio. 240 people. 4 projects in various stages of development. A budget that is reviewed by a publisher who has opinions about scope, timeline, and the relationship between the two. A creative direction that is yours to set and yours to defend and yours to revise when the market, the technology, or the team requires it. The hardest part is not the budget. The hardest part is not the publisher. The hardest part is the distance. At every level below this one, you could see the work. You could read the code. You could sit with a developer for 40 minutes and close a gap. At this level, the work is done by people who are doing it correctly or incorrectly, building towards something good or accumulating risk, making decisions that will compound into outcomes you will not see for 18 months. You manage this distance by staying as close to the work as the role permits. You attend team reviews. Not to supervise. To understand. You ask questions that demonstrate you have read the documents that were sent to you. You give feedback that is specific enough to be useful and general enough to leave the decision with the team. In your second year, a project in mid-production begins showing indicators that the creative direction and the technical implementation are diverging. Not dramatically. 1 degree. The kind of divergence that, at 1 degree, is a conversation. At 5 degrees, it is a redesign. At 10 degrees, it is a cancelled project. You have seen all 3. You have the conversation when it is 1 degree. It takes 3 meetings and 40 days and a creative direction document that you rewrite twice before the teams are aligned. 40 days. 3 meetings. 1 degree. The project ships 18 months later. The reviews describe the creative coherence of the game as one of its defining qualities. Nobody outside the studio knows about the 40 days. Inside the studio, the people who were in the meetings know. That is sufficient. Level 10, Retirement. You are 56 years old. You are not in the building today. You cleared your desk last Friday. A small ceremony. The kind of ceremony that game studios do, informal, genuine, slightly chaotic, ending with someone producing a cake that has a pixelated version of your first shipped game rendered in frosting and everyone laughing about something you said in a meeting 12 years ago that became a studio saying. You don't remember saying it. You remember the meeting. It was the 40-minute one about the rendering pipeline. You said something at minute 37? Apparently it was funny. You walked to your car in the morning. The studio building is behind you. 7 floors. 240 people inside it, most of them at their desks by now, most of them working on something that will ship in the next 18 months, and that will be played by people who will never know the names of the people who built it. That is the nature of the work. You made peace with it somewhere around year 12. You think about a free engine downloaded at 11 p.m. on a school night. A cube moving across a screen. The feeling that produced. The feeling that did not go away. You think about a first bug. Find it. Fix it. Test it. Document it. A sequence that contained, in miniature, the entire job. You think about a junior developer in 40 minutes in a conversation that did not fix the problem, that fixed how he saw the problem. His pull requests 3 months later. The silence from your lead that was a specific kind of acknowledgement. You think about a rendering pipeline identified in month 9, fixed in 6 weeks, never mentioned in the postmortem because it was never a problem. You think about 41 findings in 11 months and a project whose technical health was described as the best in the studio's history by people who did not know about the 41 findings. You think about a 1-degree divergence and 3 meetings and 40 days and a game whose reviews described its creative coherence as a defining quality. You think about a cake with a pixelated game and frosting. You sit in your car for a moment. Somewhere in that building right now, someone just downloaded a free engine for the first time. Not literally, they are a professional, they are working on a proprietary codebase that costs more than most buildings. But in the sense that matters, they are at the beginning of understanding something. They are looking at a system and seeing, for the first time, how a small change produces a large outcome. They are feeling the thing you felt with the cube. Not the same feeling. The same structure. Everything that was built, the 40 minutes, the 40 days, the 41 findings, the rendering pipeline no one mentioned, the meeting at minute 37 that became a studio saying, was built toward that moment. The moment someone makes a thing do a thing. And the thing it does is exactly what they told it to do. That was never the cost. That was always the point.